2024 is finally coming to a close, and I don't know about you, but for me, the year really flew by, and so much change has happened in my life and just the world in general. And I absolutely feel like 2025 is going to be one of the best years yet. It's just going to bring so many blessings. But one thing a lot of people like to do at this time of year, of course, is coming up with their New Year's resolutions or just goals. And I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I think it's great to always be setting goals for yourself and wanting to have change happen. Of course, it's so important for us to be able to adapt and change and just become better every single day. Although this is something that I think should be reflected on and done all year round, setting goals, it definitely is fun to do it for the beginning of the new year. But a lot of people like to do the very basic, I guess is a word, or just common kind of New Year's goals. And those can be challenging sometimes because of the way we phrase them, or even just the way we think about them. It makes it become this thing that maybe far off to achieve, or this one goal, but it doesn't really get into the nitty-gritty of why that's the goal. For example, huge one is I want to go to the gym 5 times a week in the new year. 5 times a week is quite a bit of a stretch, especially if you're somebody who's maybe only going once or twice or maybe not even at all. That's a big leap. So that's going to be maybe harder to achieve, making it be something that can discourage you because you're not able to just jump right into it, or you do jump into it and then get burnout. And also it doesn't really even address why you want to do that. So instead of something like I want to go to the gym 5 times a week, the goal should be I want to become healthier, or I want to see improvement with my weight training. I think it's important to get more specific and really kind of dive into why you even want to do something in the first place. Because if you don't even really know your whys, then why do it? But in today's video, I want to go over 10 habits that I think can be something that is useful for us to try to start adapting, especially for this new year, for trying to become a better version of ourselves. So that is what I'm going to be hopping into today. But if you're new here, my name is Catherine, and I talk about all things slow, simple, and just natural living. And if you're interested at all, please check out the channel because there's lots more videos where this came from. But without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump in. Habit number 1 is definitely a mindset habit. So don't go thinking what you could have done in certain situations or what you should have done. Think about what you can do right now and then just do it. The amount of times I may have slept in or just anything like that and then spent so much time wasted just thinking about how I shouldn't have slept in, I could have gotten A, B, or C done instead. If instead of thinking about it and dwelling on the past, if I just then, now that I'm awake, went and did those tasks, I would have done the tasks. I think it's so easy for us to just get caught up in what we think we should have done, but then that keeps us behind for even further because then we're not taking the opportunity now. Yes, we could have done many things at many points and spent our time wiser, but what's not wise is spending this time now dwelling about that. So instead of saying, oh, I should have got my walk in this morning instead of being lazy, what are you doing right now? Can you get the walk in now? You don't have to be so set in stone about times with things either. It can really mess you up because if you're so set in stone about a time, then you miss out the opportunity to do the thing you want to do, but just at a later time. You're too busy being so caught up in the fact that you didn't do it when you wanted to. It's basically just a vicious cycle because of course it's natural to reflect, it's natural to think about something we did and want to do better, but we can't just continue to be hard on ourselves about it or put all this unnecessary stress on ourselves about it. We just have to do better now. If we don't do better now, then we're just acting the same as we were before. So whatever it is that you feel like you want to do or haven't put enough time towards, really think right in the second, what are you doing right now? And can you work on that goal? Habit number 2 to bring into the new year is try to always come from a place of gratitude and being grateful opposed to just thinking about the things that you don't have. I feel like this could sound a little cliche depending on, how you take it, but truly, our minds so quickly forget all the blessings we have, right? No matter what hardships we're going through, there's something to be thankful for. And when we put our focus on that opposed to what we're lacking in or what we don't have, it truly makes the difference. The way our brains just seem to work too is we're always on to the next thing. And I get how that happens because that does make sense to evolve and get better. You have to kind of be on to the next thing. You can't stay stagnant for too long. That's good. But what's not good is forgetting about how far you've came and how blessed you are because of how far you came. That's why it's so easy to get on these cycles too of instant gratification, whether it be maybe making purchases that you don't really need to make, but you think if you have something, it will bring some kind of joy, but how long does that really bring joy? How long is it until you're on to the next thing, right? It's like that, but even more so, just over the whole picture of your life. Maybe you have a big goal that you haven't achieved yet, but think about the goals you've had a year ago, 2 years ago, even more. Aren't you closer now than you were? And if not, don't you still have so much to be thankful for in general that a lot of people don't? Something that I like to do that really helps with this is journaling, actually, because when you write it down how you're really feeling in a moment, or what your struggles are, or what your good times are in that time period, it really gives you a better picture in the future on truly how far you've come. When I look back at some of the things I wrote just even a few months ago, but a year ago, even more, it really makes me feel so grateful and so blessed. I mean, it's amazing. Yes, I have my new goals that I'm looking forward to, that I'm trying to strive for, that I'm eager to get to, but I need to be reminded that I've already gotten so far compared to what my goals were at a different time. Okay, number 3. This one's kind of funny. It might seem random, but pick up litter whenever you see it. And it's important, right? We've always been taught not to litter since we were small, right? It's not a good thing to do. But I think getting in the habit of just seeing something out of place like that we know is wrong, that we know is harmful, and just taking that second to pick it up and fix it, that also, translates over into maybe how you keep your home or even how you keep your person. Just getting in the mindset of, I will do what I can do in this moment, in this split-second decision to want to make something better. I think having that reaction is such a healthy thing to have, and it can start with something so simple like if you see a candy bar wrapper on the sidewalk, just pick it up. Just pick it up because it makes it better. It takes literally 0.2 seconds out of your day, and it helps everything. Like, it might seem so small, but if everybody had that mindset, wouldn't the world be just a complete 180, right? Or maybe understandably, if you're super grossed out by germs, I would argue it's good to get a little germs sometimes, but if that's not for you, then have it be, pick up that sock that you see on the floor in your house that shouldn't be there. Maybe you're running from task to task and you're trying to head out the door, but you see that sock, just pick it up. Just pick it up and put it where it's supposed to go. Because if you just have that mindset for that quick reaction to just put something back into place, back into some kind of order, that's going to make there be so much less stress in your life, because we see in extreme situations and extreme cases how quickly and how crazy things pile up, and that is just disaster waiting to happen for your mental health, for your physical health, even depending on what's piling up. I've seen places where there's full-on trash all over the floors. I mean, dishes that have just been left places for weeks and weeks. I mean, that's not healthy in any way. So get in the mindset to make those quick little changes to make things just a little bit better, and I think you'll see big change. 4 is try to find that balance of being somebody who plans, but also somebody that goes with the flow. And those might seem like complete opposites, right? Like completely on the other ends of the spectrum. But I think a lot of things, the best is right in that gray area, right? So you want to be somebody who has a plan that helps you to set goals, to achieve goals. If you never know what's going on, one, you're not going to be able to really function that well in society just because people need to kind of know what's going on to make plans with you. You need to know what's going on to even know what you're doing or what you're doing anything for. But also, it can become not healthy when maybe you're planning out like to the minute how you want your day to day to go. Inevitably, something is going to disrupt that flow. It's just how it is. There's no changing that. Something's going to disrupt your meticulous plan, and when that happens, it's going to be chaos. It's going to be chaos for your brain. You're going to be so stressed, and we don't want that. On the other hand, if you're just super go with the flow, then you're not going to be able to really be somebody that sets those things to achieve. You're not going to have an outline for yourself. You won't be able to keep yourself accountable really in any way because you don't have a plan to stick to. You don't know what you even really want to do because it's not outlined for you. So I say the best course of action is find somewhere in the middle. I personally, what I like to do is write down kind of a menu almost of things that I'd want to do for the day, opposed to task, like this has to be what it is, this has to be what it is. Let it be okay to have a few different options. Maybe in the case of health, instead of saying I have to at 5 a.m. every single day go for a run, maybe one, don't let it have to be at 5 a.m. Of course, that'd be wonderful. But if it can't be at 5 a.m., don't say, oh, I can't do this at all today. Let it be at 1 p.m. or even at night if it has to be for a day. Also, truly, maybe you won't want to go on a run every single day. Maybe it'll be awful weather or just some life circumstance will happen. So maybe it'd be easier for you to just get in a at-home workout, maybe some ab training on the floor or something. That's where this kind of menu can come along because you want to make sure you hit a health goal that you have for yourself, but it doesn't have to be the same thing every day. It can have room to adapt depending on just the flow of things. And also allowing yourself to not be so tied down by time constraints. Of course, some things have to be on an exact schedule that they start at this time, end at this time. But as far as other things go, kind of let it go where it needs to as you go through the day. Because you never know what kinds of things could pop up. You never know what kinds of things you might want to squeeze in. So to avoid the stress, maybe just have it be more of an overview and not so much a rule book. Habit 5 is creating boundaries with media. I think I've talked about this a lot, that social media can be very harmful, unfortunately. We're in that age. But on the other hand, it can be so wonderful too. It helps build connections. It helps to educate people. It helps to share in different cultures and passions. It is amazing in that way. But as we know too, just as much as it can share good things, it can share bad things. So it's important for us to create those boundaries. But this is also something that is really hard to do because just the nature of how a lot of these apps are designed and how that interacts with our brains, it is so easy to get sucked into those cycles. And you have to be really careful with it. So I think first off, you have to decide what your boundaries are. Are you somebody that you really probably shouldn't be watching the news that much because it just makes you depressed and maybe get a little crazy or angry even, or even some of the content that is advertising to you different products and you find yourself buying things way too often? What things do you catch yourself doing that you really don't want to bring with you into the new year? And how can you set up the boundary to make that not be the case? This could be unfollowing certain accounts on these different medias. It could even be going as far as blocking them so you're not tempted to go look. It can be having in your phone or even separate apps going in and giving yourself limits on how long you can even spend on these apps per day. It can even be writing out a list of fun hobbies that you enjoy but never seem to find time to do, but you do seem to find time to scroll on your phone. Whatever kind of stuff works for you, there's lots of options, but I would just definitely recommend really thinking about it, really thinking about your habits around it, which do change too. You may do good for a really long time, and then you find yourself now sucked in again. So constantly reevaluate yourself and see what boundaries you need to put up in order to be your best self and not get stuck in those traps. You also want to make sure that you can see the good stuff on social media. If you're getting, following maybe thousands of people because you've had an account on something for years, maybe really take time to clean that out or start a new account depending on your situation, because there might be good stuff that would bring some kind of value, but you're not even seeing it because it's so blocked out by all the kind of garbage that is also being put out. So number 6 is, if you don't enjoy doing something that's good for you, I don't think you should give up on it, but I also don't think you should push yourself to do it that exact way. So what do I mean by this? For example, we're talking about exercising a lot today. That's just my bad. I guess that's on my brain. But say you have the goal for this new year that you really want to get healthy, and so you want to exercise, but you start doing it and it's just kind of miserable, to be honest. Maybe whatever you're choosing to do, you really hate it, and then every day when it's time to do it, you find yourself not excited. Now, I think we have in our culture right now a push on being more easy on ourselves, which in some ways is definitely not bad, but I think with a lot of things, again, it's somewhere in the middle. Do I think you should just say, exercising's not for me, I gave it a good try, but I'm just going to go back to, being pretty stagnant all the time? I do not think that's what you should do. I don't think that's the lesson. However, I don't think you need to do things or push yourself in this way, the specific way you're doing it, unless you're really trying to do a mental challenge of just pushing yourself through hard situations that you don't enjoy. If that's not the goal, if the goal is just being healthy, for example, don't keep trying to push yourself to do maybe that type of exercise, but look into other ways to get exercise. Maybe you're somebody that really can't stand just laying in your living room floor and using some barbells to work your arms, but maybe you'd really enjoy rock climbing. Maybe you can't stand walking on the treadmill for minutes upon minutes, but maybe you'd really enjoy going on a hike. Don't just completely give up on something if it's not going how you thought, but also don't push yourself to a complete breaking point, because that is when you're going to just stop completely and go back to where you were, if not further back in the wrong direction. This can be applied to, of course, all kinds of areas of life too. Maybe you're noticing your house isn't as clean as you want, so you say, I'm going to be on this cleaning schedule and I'm going to do it exactly like this. But you find that to be miserable, you find that to not work with your schedule very well. Don't feel like you just throw it away. Change it up. Maybe do different kinds of cleaning, or do a different kind of schedule. Play some music while you're cleaning. Just add things, play with it, and find something that does work. Habit number 7 is never stop learning, and don't be afraid to gain new perspective, and also don't be afraid to listen and learn to things even if you think you're going to disagree with them. This is all about just allowing that growth and change to happen in your life, right? So if we're closed off because we might think we know everything about a topic, or we think that we're going to disagree with somebody about something and that makes us feel angry, that can really close us off from becoming a better version of ourselves, really, which we're never going to be the best version of ourselves. We always have to keep growing. And it's important to allow ourselves to really hear all the kinds of different perspectives there are out there, because we're just ourselves. We've only ever had our experiences, and we only can see things through our lens that we grew up with. And I think it's important to be a well-rounded person and learn new things. For me, for example, just starting now, and I'm not super into the world of math or technology at all. It's not my thing, and I can still say that it's really not my thing. But recently I've been just learning more about crypto and AI, and it's been interesting. It's really nice to hear about it from perspectives that are so different from my own, and also that come from different backgrounds and different understandings and different educations themselves. And it's been really fun. And although I don't think I'm going to become somebody who's like into those kinds of things by any means, it's really cool. So think about that for yourself. What are things that seem very not up your alley, or maybe conversations that you've avoided having just because you feel like it'll stress you out in some way or make you angry? Have those conversations, have that open dialogue, learn something completely new that has nothing to do with anything that you like. It will make you a more well-rounded human being, and it'll help you to relate to others. It'll help you to form bonds and friendships through all types of people and community, and I think that is a wonderful thing. Habit number 8, do not keep any scores in your head on who's done what, or who did this for me and I did this for them. No, just stop. Whether it be in friendships or families or relationships that you have, that is such a bad habit to have and needs to be really reworked in our brains, I think. It can be very easy to get to a place of being discouraged or hurt because it feels like somebody may not be reciprocating to you in the way you feel you're delivering something to them, whether it be you're doing different acts of service for them or compliments or anything. If you feel you're not receiving that back, it can be hurtful, and that is understandable, but that should not be our goal when we're doing nice things. When we're doing something for others, it should be because we want what's best for them. We want to help them. We want to do something nice. It shouldn't be, I want this person to see me in a better way, or I want to maybe do this so that I may be getting something back. If we have that mindset, then we really shouldn't be doing it at all, because it's not for the right reasons. And I know for sure there's situations too where maybe at first we were doing it just because we wanted to be nice, or we wanted to have what's best for that person. But then over time, if we're not feeling that back, we can start getting resentment or other emotions. And that's when it's okay to say, maybe I'm putting more than I need to. Maybe what I'm doing is actually doing too much and kind of hindering them from being able to do their own thing. Maybe I am too invested and it's taking away from me being a better person myself. I'm feeling resentment right now, so I'm gonna take a step back for that reason. That doesn't mean cut them off. I hear this saying all the time, like, just cut people off. That doesn't mean you have to cut anybody off. You can still do nice things and want what's best for them without, going overboard if that's the case, because you never want to do something because you want something yourself. If you're getting to that point, then just stop doing those things and focus on you and reflecting and how you can do better in the future. And also don't blame the other person, because it's your choice on what you do for other people to help them. And if they don't do the same, that's on them, and that's for them to have their own time of self-reflection. But it's not your place to blame them or to be upset with them, really. So overall, just try avoiding those situations altogether. If you're doing something, do it because you want to do something nice. And if somebody doesn't do something nice for you back, that's okay. Habit 9, if you want to start something new, like a hobby or an activity, then just start with what you have and don't expect it to be perfect right off the get-go. This could be talking about many things. So a big thing I see is people getting into new hobbies. So I crochet and knit, so I see that a lot, is people wanting to maybe get into that. And so what they do before they ever even learn how is they go out, buy tons of yarn, buy all the different sized needles that they need. And what can happen a lot is people do things like that, and then they either don't even really enjoy the hobby, or they just don't do the hobby that much. It's almost as if they were just getting the thrill of going out and making that purchase opposed to even wanting to participate in it. This can also go in a slightly different direction where maybe they never even start trying to do something because they feel like they're not adequately equipped to do so. So maybe it's making videos even, for example. Maybe you really enjoy kind of some light videography, you think it's fun, you want to put things out there, but you see how high level everything is on the internet, especially nowadays, how high quality people have these thousands and thousands of dollars of cameras and sound and lighting, and you say, I can't do something that good, so I'm just not going to do it at all. That is not the mindset you should have. If it's something you're interested in and want to do and think would be fun for whatever reason, you should just do it. Whether your issue being you not even starting because you don't have the equipment, or you going out and getting more stuff than you need, don't do either of those things. Just start with the basics of what you have. If you need to get a couple things, do that, but just start doing it and see if you like it. And also have fun with it, and don't expect it to be perfect, because it's not going to be perfect. But you have to start doing it to build on that skill at all. If you wait until you're perfect at something to do it, you're never going to do it. You gotta have bad versions of things to ever have a good version. So in 2025, just start doing whatever it is you're thinking about doing, that you're interested in. And my last final tip for the day is knowing that things will change, and be willing to change with it. So that sounds kind of deep, but it's really not that deep. It's basically just saying that inevitably, whatever situation you're in now, it's not going to look the same. Maybe it'll be similar, but things around us are constantly changing. The world's constantly changing, our smaller circles are constantly changing, and we are changing. So change is happening, whether we want it to or not, but the mindset we really should be in is being willing to let that change happen. We need to allow ourselves to become new creations every single day and strive to be better versions of ourselves. If we don't allow ourselves to change, if we want to just stay in the same old mindsets, the same old habits, then things around us are still going to change. Things are still going to happen how they're going to happen, but we're going to be left behind and we're not going to be happy. So try not to think of it as something scary, but as something exciting. And think of every single new day as a fresh start. Yes, it's a fresh new year, but think of it every single day as a fresh start, because it really is. So I hope you enjoyed some of these tips I have for you today. If you have any resolutions or any goals or anything to say at all, please feel free to tell me down in the comments below. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to see the next one, please consider subscribing to join this community of like-minded folk. My schedule may be a little bit wonky for a little bit as I figure out what I'm doing in the new year, but there will be more to see. So I do hope to see you in the next one. But until then, bye-bye.